Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, honorable speakers, partners, participants, and committee of this online event. Welcome to the international webinar on Edtech implementation in the post-COVID era to support open distance learning in Southeast Asia. This webinar is an important opportunity for the education practitioners and Edtech industry to gather around to discuss and review where we have been, what we have done, and to consider what will we do next. Through the perspective of leadership, the discussion is expected to not only deliver the challenges, but also the opportunities presented by the recent situation. Before we go to today's agenda, let me introduce myself. My name is Dania. It's a precious change for me to be your master of ceremony on today's event. Now, allow me to present the agenda of our ceremony. First, welcome remarks by CMOLEC Director. Second, remarks from CMEO Secretariat. Third, opening remarks by the Acting Director of Learning and Student Affairs of Higher Education, the representative of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology of Republic Indonesia. And the last is group for a session. For the first agenda, may I invite Director of CMOLEC to give a welcome remarks. Dr. Wahyudi, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, our MC. Honorable Acting Directors of Learning and Student Affairs of Higher Education, Professor Dr. Sri Gunani Partivi, as the representative of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology of Indonesia. Honorable CMU Secretariat Directors, Dr. Ethel Agnes Pascua Valenzuela, Honorable Speakers and Moderators, esteemed colleagues at CMOLEC, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Very good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for taking your time to join us today. It is a great pleasure for me to represent CMOLEC, to welcome you all and to deliver the remarks on this webinar. Today's webinar is an annual event held by CMOLEC as a forum for us to share and discuss relevant issues regarding open and distance learning. Today, we will have sharing and discussion sessions on how educational technology is implemented in the post-COVID era in our regions and how is its role on open and distance learning. As we all know, in 2020, the world has been facing hard times due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has a great impacts and affecting almost all of aspects of our life, including education one. Since then, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced schools from all countries around the world to close and to stop most of the activities at school. And as a result, more than 2 billion students are forced to learn from home. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in response to these conditions, there is a need for solutions to keep all our students to get the right for education through open and distance learning. Furthermore, through quality open and distance learning, our students can also fulfill their needs in learning activities and to avoid the learning loss. One of the alternatives that can be used for that is educational technology. We do believe that the proper use of educational technology through the utilization of relevant software and hardware will improve classroom learning activities and finally also the quality of education. Today, educational technology is growing rapidly and CMOLEC at the center that focus on open and distance learning, as well as an active user of educational technology, sees this kind of innovation as a big potential to become a good tool for increasing human resources quality through education. Fortunately, with a lot of adaptations, our region is getting much better in handling the pandemic, especially in education. With education technology, CMOLEC sees that there is a hope for better improvements in our educations. Nevertheless, the role of educational technology in open distance learning still need a comprehensive discussions to be fully implemented. Semolek appreciate the Ministry of Education's Culture, Research and Technology of Indonesia for setting up the initiative to build inclusive education ecosystem. Our thanks and deep appreciations also goes to the Ministry of Education in Southeast Asia regions, as well as SIMU Secretariat and other stakeholders for their initiative and supports through the solid and strong networks in order to build a better community for better educational quality. We would like to thank all speakers and participants who have joined us today. We hope that all experiences shared in this webinar will strengthen our efforts to better build the better future for our next generations through quality educations. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, your presence has been invaluable and without any doubt has helped us to make the event successful and fruitful. We are also grateful to all the committee and all those who have been involved in the organizing these events and ensuring that it proceeds smoothly. Finally, when the time comes, we would like to cordially invite Honorable Acting Director of Learning and Student Affairs of Higher Education, Professor Dr. Sri Gunani Partiwi, to deliver her remarks and officially open this webinar. Thank you very much and have a pleasant webinar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you for your inspiring remark, Dr. Wahyudi. Moving on to the next agenda, may I invite the Director of Siameo Secretariat to give her remark, Dr. Ethel Agnes Valenzuela. Please, ma'am, you may now have the floor.
Thank you very much. Honorable Acting Director of Learning and Student Affairs of Higher Education, Dr. Sri Gunani Partiwi, as the representative of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, Honorable Simolek Director Dr. Wayudi, Deputy Directors, Managers, and Officials, esteemed members of the Simolek Governing Board, honorable speakers and moderators, guests, colleagues at Simolek and Simeo Centers joining us here, partners, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you. It is my great honor to be part of this Simolek International Webinar on Educational Technology Implementation in the Post-COVID Era. This will support definitely open and distance learning in Southeast Asia. As we all know, we are still in the pandemic. We also know that the pandemic will be felt for years to come, with over 1.5 billion students affected, and as they say, at least 463 million learners unable to access remote learning, hybrid learning, or web-based learning. There is no doubt that inequality and inequity exist, and that learning loss, learning poverty will continue. So our session today is really very important. How do we move forward after 2 years of the pandemic that has made adverse impact on the disruption of education? Let me also share with you that this pandemic has given us as well a circuit breaker mode that many countries have tried their best to support distance learning, hybrid, flexible learning to cope up with the learning continuity. Most countries in our region have provided several platforms and technology capacity building for teachers so that learning will go on. despite the closure. And I'm delighted that in this very important season, we have Simeo Simulek, who very well adapted and timely organized meaningful events, international webinars, and assisted the Ministry of Education of Indonesia and ministries of education all over the region using the platform, open educational resources, and many more. This will help us pave the way for, better Southeast Asia through open distance education, lifelong learning, providing education for everyone. At this time, when we are all focusing on the transformation of education after the pandemic, we have to consider all the things that we have developed over the years during the lockdown. You can think about open educational resources that we have collected together and developed together. And we can also talk about the many partnerships that we have engaged, signed agreements, and tap all experts from all over the world and the region. This tremendous support should be continued even after the pandemic. There are a lot of opportunities now for collaboration to transform education, because in these remaining 7 years of SDG 4, we all look forward to a bigger, better reform. So may I share with you that in a way to transform education, we can always take a look of the action tracks that was adopted recently in the Transforming Education Summit in New York. The action track is 1, inclusive, equitable, safe, and healthy schools. So all the platforms that are being made available will contribute to inclusive, hopefully quality education for everyone. The second track is learning and skills for life, work, and sustainable development. So the jobs that are required in the next generation, the next decade, is different because we are in the digitalized environment. Everything has to be adopted, not just Industry 4.0, but in digitalization era. Third action track is teachers, teaching, and the teaching profession. We must continue to invest on teachers' capacity building, and continuing professional development. The action track 4 is digital learning and transformation. That's why we are all gathered here, because definitely this discussion will enhance regional cooperation, especially on the quality of open and distance learning and distance education. And the fifth, which is more important, transforming education action track, is financing of education. So when we say that over 400 million learners could not access all of these online courses, it is really a concern on financing. We must be able to share our resources and be able to reach out even to those in the margins and those who do not have really the opportunity to learn online. That's why we can have blended learning and otherwise. Distance education is the one that can respond to it. So the Simeo centers, 26 of them, our member countries, 11 in Southeast Asia, our associate and affiliate members, we are all committed to help in the promotion of equal access to learning opportunities for all learners. Educational innovation, educational delivery in a different mode is necessary. So I would like to congratulate all of you for coming together, Simeo Simulek partners, for your contributions in this very important conference. And I know that you have worked hard for your presentation. So I am very much excited to listen to all your, suggestions, researches on open and distance education. Simeo Secretariat is a member of the Global Advocacy Committee on Distance Education. And we are working on a survey on flexible learning right now. We hope to have you in our future engagements, and I wish you all the best in this very productive webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ethel, for the inspiring remark. Ladies and gentlemen, we are still waiting for the representative of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology of Republic Indonesia to officially open today's event. So now we move on to the end of this opening ceremony. May I request to all participants to turn on your camera and give your big smile. We will take a group photo session in 3 times. Okay, operator ready? I will count to 3 and please give your best smile. 1, 2, 3. Second session. 1, 2, 3. And the last session. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Now we shall move on to the speaker session. There will be 2 sessions provided in today's webinar. Our session will be led by moderators and 9 speakers representing Southeast Asia education practitioners, experts, and industry. Before I hand the session to our first moderators, to all participants, I'd like to encourage you to share today's webinar with your social networks. You can take a screenshot of this webinar session and share it or post them directly on your Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook accounts. And don't forget to take our social media accounts. Ladies and gentlemen, now I am pleased to invite Ms. Cahya Kusumarati as our moderators in the first session about Edtech implementation from Southeast Asia countries' perspective. Ms. Cahya, the time is yours.
Yeah, so, well, thank you very much, Ms. Dania. So, ladies and gentlemen, the participants of the Simulec webinar, it is an honor for me to be your moderator in the first session today. In these sessions, we will have 6 speakers from 6 Southeast Asia countries: Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, Thailand, and Vietnam. Several presenters will share their perspective on Edtech implementation in their respective institutions. At the same time, we also have representatives from the Ministry of Education that will share the country's policy and initiative on Edtech empowered learning. Each presenter, we will have 15 minutes to present, and we will have question and answer sessions after all the session presentations. So please raise any questions. Our colleague will be happy to assist you on the YouTube chat box. She will guide you on how you can share your question with us for the presenters. So, all right. So, without further ado, may me welcome the first speaker, Honorable Dr. Tintin Ai, a professor in the Economic Department, Yangon University of Distance Education, Myanmar. Dr. Tintin Ai, the screen is yours.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Professor Dr. Tintin Ai, Department of Economics, Yangon University of Distance Education in Myanmar. The paper that I'm going to present is Influencing Factors on Organizational Performance of Online Program in Yangon University of Distance Education. This paper emphasizes the importance of investigating the factors that influence the organizational performance of online programs at Yangon University of Distance Education. This study focuses on human resources, technological factors, situational factors, and organizational performance of online programs in YUDE. As proven by the findings, among these 3 factors, the situational factors is a strong and highly influential factor on organizational performance of the online program or YUDE. Online education is necessary these days during the COVID-19 pandemic period. Online teaching programs are good platform, but they have the same requirements. During the COVID-19 pandemic period, these 3 factors are needed to consider improving the organizational performance of online program or YUDE. After that, I would like to present about aims and objectives of the study. The organization results are fundamental determinants of competitive advantage and organizational performance. This study aims to establish the relationship between human resources, technological factor, situational factors, and organizational performance of an online program in YUDE. This study has 4 objectives. The first objective is to examine the relationship between human resource and organizational performance. The second objective is to investigate the relationship between technological factors and organizational performance. The third objective is to analyze the relationship between situational factors and organizational performance. The final objective is to explore the influencing factors on organizational performance. In this research, there are altogether 9 sessions. First one is influencing factor on organizational performance. Second one is conceptual framework of their study. The third one is profile of their study, and then respondents' perception on internal and external factors of the online program. And then correlation between internal and external factors in organizational performance, and then analysis on the influence of internal and external factors on organizational performance, and then findings and discussion, and then suggestions and recommendations. The final session is needs for further research. Then I would like to present about influencing factor on organization and performance. Many internal and external factors can affect the organizational performance of an online program. In this study, the following factors are considered as the influencing factors on organization's performance and online program in YUDE. Internal factor. The internal business environment comprises factors within the firm which impact the organization performance. Resources. In fact, resources are the basic requirement of all types of business situated in the least developing and developed countries. Knowledge. Knowledge and innovation are inseparable from each other. Experience. Their knowledge can gain through experience. Therefore, creativity is all about connecting experience. External factors. All organizations are affected by changing in the external environment. These changes can be another driver of for innovation. Environmental changes can happen through macro shifts in political, economic, cultural, situational, and technological factors. Technology. Technologies may exist at several levels: applied level, developmental level, or basic level. Technologies may have their various characteristics. Technological integration has changed our lifestyles and has impacted society a great deal, and it has become the essential tool for the pedagogical practice in the current educational environments. Situational factors. Situational factors are external factors that have the effect on online program, usually outside the influence of environment, work and university, and the people around you. They involve aspects like physical factors, social factors, time factors, and the student's learning reasons and mood. Consumer psychological factors are consumer motivation, personality, perception, and altitude. Next, I will focus on conceptual framework of the study. The conceptual framework of this research was created based on the previous research that has been observed, and by applying relevant dimensions of the internal and external factors that influence the organizational performance of online program in YUDE. External and internal factors are independent variables of this research and will be assessed by human resource factor, technological factor, and situational factor. Organizational performance of online program in YUDE is dependent variable. The conceptual framework of this study of this research is shown in this figure. Then I would like to present about profile of the respondent. The survey capture the socio-demographic factors of 176 respondents: gender, age, level of education, occupation, and working experience. Gender was ordered into the male and female groups. Most of the respondents were female. Age was categorized in 5 groups. Among these total respondents, the frequency of 46 to 55 years old respondents is highest. The level of education that respondents have attained was classified into 6 groups. Among all these education groups, respondents with a master's degree constitute a highest frequency. Positions were listed as teaching staff, administrative staff, and IT staff. Among the total respondents, teaching staff is higher than the admin and IT staff. The working experience of the respondents were categorized into 5 groups and among them, the frequency of respondents with more than 20 years of experience is the highest. Then I will go on. Reliability test of the observed variables. Before carrying out the analysis, a reliability test are carried out in order to prove high reliability. According to the table, Cromwell alpha value for 4 variables are greater than 0.9. The reliability coefficient of 0.7 or higher is considered acceptable in most social science research situations. Therefore, the reliability of data for these variables is acceptable. YUD has 313 staff in 90 departments. Among them, 176 staff were selected by the using simple random sampling method for this study. The primary data was collected from selected teaching staff, administrative staff, and IT staff or YUD by using structured questionnaire. Secondary data was collected from relevant textbook, previous research, and the internet. The data was collected from the respondent of YUDE. Then the data is analyzed by using the statistical packages for social science, SPSS version 25. Descriptive statistics, including standard deviation, percentage, and frequency distribution, are used to analyze the statistical data of respondents. In this study, correlation and regression analysis were used to find the connection between dependent and independent variable. The correlation of independent variable, human resource factor, technological factor, and situational factor are analyzed to show their correlation with the dependent variable. Organizational performance by correlation analysis is in this study. Then, I would like to present about respondent perception on internal and external factor of online program. In this session has 5 parts. The first part is respondent perception on human resource factor. The second part is respondent perception on technological factor. The third part is respondent perception on situational factor. The fourth part is summary of respondent perception on internal and external factor. The final part is respondent perception on organization performance. The respondent perception of the human resource factor is measured with 11 questions items. According to the results, teachers and staff work experience, teachers' computer literacy, teaching method, interaction with students, and knowledge and skill of teacher are important for online program. The respondent's perception of technological factor is measured with 9 questions. According to the result, technological advancement, internet access, online teaching application, ease of communication, and accessibility to technology are important for online program. The respondent's perception on situational factor is measured with 8 questions items. Among these 3 factors, the staff's perception of the technological factor is higher than the other 2 factors. To analyze organizational performance of respondent, more specific 5 questions are developed to assess the level of respondent's perception. According to the results, increased staff efficiency and increased number of online students in the online program of YUD have the highest mean value. Next, I will go on the correlation between internal and external factor in organizational performance. In this table, human resource factor, technological factor, and situational factor are independent variable. Organizational performance is dependent variable. According to the result, human resource factor, technological factor, and situational factor are positive and highly correlated with organizational performance. Then I would like to present about analysis on the influence for internal and external factors on organizational performance. To evaluate the influence of internal and external factors on organizational performance, linear regression analysis from each of three independent variables to the dependent variable was done together as a multiple regression analysis. The factor for influencing internal and external factors on organizational performance of online program YUDE are as shown in table. In this table, human resource factor and technological factor and situational factor were 1% significant and positively correlated with organizational performance. The multiple linear regression analysis results state that among the internal and external factor, the most significant factor is the situational factor, which is the main determinant of organizational performance of the online program or YUDE. Then, I will focus on the findings and discussion. The findings of the analysis conducted on the data collected from the 176 respondents are explored for an insightful understanding of the influencing factor on the organizational performance of the online program or YUDE. Descriptive analysis is implied for this study and the descriptive statistics conducted in this session is present. The data collected from the 176 respondents in order to measure the level of step possession of the three proposed internal and external influence factor. According to the human resource factor, teachers and staff work experience, computer literacy, teaching methods, interaction with student and teacher knowledge and skill are important for online program. The result indicates that human resource factor, technological factors, and situational factors have a direct positive impact on organizational performance. The results generated by the multiple linear regression analysis show that the independent variables, the human resource factor, technological factors, and situational factors were significant at 1% level and had a positive relationship with the organizational performance of the online program in YUDE. Next, I will go on suggestions and recommendations. YUD needs to harness staff possession so as to retain their success and expand their online program. The staff possession and the students' possession should be leveraged by the YUD as a competitive advantage to set the good online program apart from its competitor. This study was conducted to investigate the factors that influence the organization's performance of online program or YUDE. Online program or YUDE should preserve this progress by maintaining the level of trust among the students together with the percentage of reciprocity and the students' altitude towards the effectiveness of the modern technology applied by the online program while providing its services to maintain its reputation as a recognizable and trustworthy online program. YUD's online programs should devote more time and effort to providing excellent service to current and prospective students. The online program of YUD needs to track and document the updated information of the program. For this reason, the level of commitment, trust, loyalty, and reciprocity of students are above normal and need to retain them for the long-term growth of the online program of YUDE. Finally, I would like to present about needs for further research. Since this research studies step possession towards organization performance, the online program or YUD, the response of respondents from other parts of the Myanmar are not included to achieve better for reaching findings for those who research for the education industry in Myanmar. Thank you for your attention.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Tintin Ai. It was excellent sharing. So we can take note that the human resources, technological, and situational factors are highly correlated with the organizational performance of the implementations of online program. We can deliberate this further during Q&A sessions, but now we need to move on to the second presenter. So here we have two faculty members from Schools of Educational Studies, Kota Itamatira Open University, Thailand. So first I introduce Assistant Professor Dr. Wana Prapa Suksawas. She is a full-time lecturer at the Schools of Educational Studies. Her research has focused on advancing understanding of how English as a foreign language can raise students' literacy and language development in school and tertiary education context, as well as how technology and language literacy can be promoted through distant education. We will also have Associate Professor Dr. Sita Yemkuntai Tawon. She is an expert in teaching English to speakers of other language. She is also recognized as a Senior Fellow of the Higher Education Academy from the UK Professional Standards Framework in Teaching and Learning Support. So without further ado, let us welcome them, Dr. Suksawas and Dr. Yemkuntai Tawon. The screen is yours.
Sawadee. Good day, everybody. My name is Sita Yemkuntai Tawon from Sukhothai Thammathirat Open University, Thailand. I'm so glad to be here today. And today I'm here with Assistant Professor Dr. Wanaprapha Suksawat. And today we have a talk about investigating the sudden change to online learning on intensive English class of Sukhothai Thammathirat Open University in Thailand. Actually, our topic is quite big, but I'm trying to cover it all within 15 minutes. Okay, shall we start? All right, I'd like to talk a little bit about the outline. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the background of the study, the aim of the study, review of related works, research methodology, research findings, and then conclusion and discussion. That is the talk that we are here today. And first of all, I'll talk a little bit, a brief things about the introduction of our study. As you know that before graduation from master degree or PhD, the student have to pass the lots of criteria, and one of the criteria that students have to pass is English language. In Thailand, they have to pass what we call CEFR test, that the Common European Framework for Reference for Language. As you know that for the PhD students, they have to pass like B2, and for master degree, they have to pass B1. But again, Thai students, as they have studied English for a long time, but they're still not familiar with English language. Some of them cannot pass the test, and some of them, they seem like they don't want to do the test. So our university try to help them, okay? So we like make the course that is called the intensive English course for years, and we ask them to sit in the class. It is the on-site class, and we have like 5 days working, learning together, okay? Like we have to do like structure, speaking, listening, writing, readings, and all together. But because the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, as we know that we have to shift from on-site to online class. That the things that we have to do at that time. So the committee have talked to each other and set up the class that is called the online intensive English class, okay? And we shortened the course to 4 days, okay? And we start with structure on the first day, and then for the listening and speaking on the second day, and then the reading on the third day, and the last day we have the examination. So 4 days. And we have 2 platforms altogether. The first one is Microsoft Teams for teaching and learning, and then we have Moodle for examination. Right? So that is why we have to learn what the perception of the students and what the behavior of the student while they are learning with us from online, as we are distant learning. But I know that there's going to be something different, and we're going to know that later after the COVID pandemic, what's going to be, all right, what do they like and what we're going to teach later on. All right, so next I'd like to talk a little bit about the word sudden change. Okay, the sudden change is a situation as emergency remote education. All right, emergency remote education occurs when courses suddenly transition online. That is the things that we would like to talk today. All right, and we have 2 aims of the study. The first one, investigate student behaviors and perception of the learning process during the pandemic. And the second one is examine the insight to the students' self-regulated learning during the pandemic. All right. Then next, Ajahn Wanaprabha will talk a little bit about the related works and the method of the study.
Okay, thank you. In order to fulfill the mentioned aims of the study, we have revisited studies in relation to distance education. We investigate factors that promote student success in online education. Earlier studies suggest that students' engagement in self-regulated learning tends to support success in online higher education. As a result, in our study, we focus on higher education. And also, the previous studies demonstrated that instructor behaviors and learning management can contribute to an environment that can either facilitate or hinder students' self-regulated learning. As a result, we have looked into the framework for conceptualizing engagement in terms of students, in terms of how students manage their cognition, behavior, motivation, and context. As we know that learners adjust what they do and how they study depending upon task, self, and context condition. Therefore, it is necessary to review existing literatures while seeking to understand the impacts of the sudden change to all online, socially distanced education. And during COVID-19 pandemic, some students lost some degree of control over the learning environments and choices. As context is essential to how and whether students engage in self-regulated learning, it is necessary to consider these unique contexts of a rapid shift to online learning in details to see to what extent does this emergency context affect students' self-learning. Therefore, we designed our questions that we use in both questionnaires and in our focus group interview based on the core dimension of self-regulated learning based on the study of Pinterest 2004. Since we have limited time, I won't get into details of each questions, but you can see from the slides that all the questions are designed related based on the area of regulation. Include behavior, cognition, motivation, and context. Now, let's move on to the research methodology of this present study. Our study is considered as a mixed method design since we recruit both qualitative and quantitative data. And for course design, we gathered a related team to design learning management and course evaluation. After the course was tried out, once the course was officially ready, students can apply for the course through the academic affairs of the university. And the participants in these studies were 30 students from 2 classrooms selected by class sampling. Now let's talk about our research tools. In our studies, we use mainly 3 research tools, which were first, a questionnaire consisted of 15 question items that we asked students about the demographic data, behavior, and perception. Secondly, we use behavior observation form because we try to recruit students' actual behavior in their classroom. And for semi-structured interview, we use as a guideline for our focus group interview. This to recruit the self-regulation of the students while they are learning. Now, let's move on to our research finding parts. Before I get into details of the data we get from each research tools, let me just briefly introduce you the participants' demographic data. The majority of our participants was female and aged more than 40 years old. Even though all of our participants are from all over Thailand, the majority of them was from Central Part, and most of them was government officers. Now, let's talk about the students' behavior that we get from our observation. From day one, participants seem to be quiet in class since they don't know each other before. They were willing to answer questions only if their names were called out. Day 2, participants collaborated more in class after they had been together for another long day. They were more relaxed and participated more. On day 3, for reading skills, participants had to practice reading 6 reading passages. They suggest working as a group rather than working individually, as we can see that students try to seek help on day 3. And on the last day, exam day, participants seemed to be more relaxed and confident with their English competency level compared to the first day of the class. Although they were more familiar with MS Team and models, some of them had difficulties submitting the exam online. As a result, technical supports were also significant for them. Now let's move on to students' perceptions. As we have limited time, I won't get into details of all the question items, but as you can see that a student rated the following topics in relation to their perceptions at the high and highest level. We asked them to rate about their effectiveness of online teaching tools, lecturers, materials, class activity, student supports, and confidence and motivation. These suggest us that students have positive perceptions towards the class. And lastly, let's talk a little bit about self-regulated learning. In the topic of cognition, from doing the thematic structure analysis of the students' interview data, we found out that for cognition, students practice doing English exam before and during class. They review content knowledge in advance. For behavior, they have allotted the time and effort in planning and directed their own learning at home. For motivations, they have clear goal and strong determination to pass the course, and they perceive the task difficulties in advance, since we inform them in advance that this course is going to base on CFR level at B2. And for context, they show the concerns about using MS Team and models in the course, and about the health problem and internet connection. Apart from these concerns, students have shown that they have adapted to the changing context efficiently. Okay, this brings me to the end of the research finding parts. Let's now move on to the conclusion and discussion.
Thank you. From the results, I believe that the students were satisfied with online class almost 100% because they, don't have to commute to work or commute to school, commute to campus, and it's safe course, I think. So they like it and it's easy to use. That's what they said, okay? Because they say the platform that we use, like the Moodles or the Microsoft Team, they are very friendly user. They are easy to use, all right? So, but I guess it's gonna be the big problem for the students and the teacher about the atmosphere of learning. As Wanaprabha said, there's some kind of distraction, and sometimes the students keep quiet in class. They don't want to participate in class that much. They have something come up at the moment, so they lose some things, all right? They don't want to participate. That's why we have to call out their names, or we like to observe why they are learning, and it's going to be the hard work of the teachers. That's why when they say like It might be true that the COVID-19 pandemic had changed education forever. Nevertheless, a full online learning might work as a temporary alternative due to COVID-19, but it still could not substitute face-to-face learning. I believe that. I think we might focus on blended learning or the hybrid learning. So just keep in mind that the students are different. We are individuals. So each student can learn 100% online learning, and each student might, want to study on-site class. I don't know. It depends on the student as well. So after the COVID pandemic, I think we still have more work to do, right? We still have to study and observe again whether what they like us to teach or what kind of the class that they like us to join, all right, or what kind of class they would like to participate. I think we have still lots of work to do. Okay, study never ends, I guess. All right. So anyway, that's the end of our talk. Right now, if you have any questions or comment, we are very happy to answer that and listen to that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Doctor. It was an excellent presentation. Yeah, so thank you for sharing the study that you did during the sudden change to support the students' English language proficiency. Yeah, so however, dear participants, probably you want to raise questions and want to have more discussions, yeah, but we will need to see more presentations, yeah. So next we will have our speaker from the Ministry of Higher Education, Malaysia, Mr. Ahmad Rizal bin Adnan. It is an honor to have you here. So Mr. Ahmad Rizal is the Director of the Governance Division for Public University in the Department of Higher Education Malaysia. He is mainly responsible for ensuring good governance practices in 20 public universities in Malaysia. So please welcome Mr. Ahmad Rizal. The screen is yours.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all members of attendees this morning. Thank you so much, Secretariat, for arranging this and giving me the opportunity to share some Malaysians' insight on educational technology post-COVID-19. I am Ahmad Rizal Adnan, currently in Governance Division, overseeing 20 public universities in Malaysia, in Department of Higher Education in Malaysia under the Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia. Well, sticking to our theme on Edtech this morning, I would like to share on Malaysia's story in digitalizing the higher education post-COVID-19. My briefing will be covering a bit on the background, especially how the current scenario is impacting Malaysia, specifically in higher education. Then I will be touching a bit on the digitalization initiatives in Malaysia and challenges that we face in implementing the digitalization initiatives fully. Later, I will be sharing the framework of Malaysia Higher Education Digitalization Plan, explaining further on the thrust and focused areas in the framework. With the vast advancement in technology and global changes, the current higher education policymakers need to rethink the graduates they are producing. We are currently living in a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world that demands resilience and ability to responding to changes. The Industrial Revolution 4.0 is not a passing thing. It has tremendously affected our ways of work and lives. The career path of many university graduates are no longer regimented by a single sure path. In fact, globalization and the ability to move beyond borders, despite not traveling with visas, has significantly changed how one curates one's life and progresses in his or her career. We have to agree that change is indeed inevitable. It has to be managed. Technology changes has actually improved work, decision-making, and cross-border partnerships. The students must not only stay abreast, they must also be resilient and ready for change. This is where policymakers need to re-strategize policies in ensuring graduates are ready for labor market. In designing a policy, one has to understand the population, and in Malaysia, there are a total of 1,207,593 students who are pursuing their tertiary education in higher education institutions. This consists of 517,580 students, or 42.8% in over 400 private higher education institutions, 589,879 students, or 48.8% in 20 public universities, 84,556 students, or 7.2% in 36 polytechnics, and 15,578 students, or 1.2% in 105 community colleges. As for the international students enrollment, over 60%, or 58,063 students, are in the private higher education institutions, while 40%, or 39,172 students, are registered in public universities in 2021. Malaysia aims to continue positioning itself as an international education hub, targeting 250,000 international students by the year 2025. Online learning has been implemented in Malaysia for several decades in widening access to education, enhancing the quality of teaching and learning, while enabling greater personalization of students' learning. Malaysia's online learning is an avenue to extend the reach of courses offered by Malaysian higher learning institutions. It will widen access and liberalize higher education by making it easily available to all segments of society. Higher Education first launched the National E-Learning Policy of Dasar E-Pembelajaran Negara, or DEPAN, in 2011 under the National Higher Education Strategic Plan 2007 and beyond 2020. The PAN provides the framework for quality e-learning deployment at Malaysians' higher learning institutions and is made up of 5 pillars. These 5 pillars are infrastructure, structure of organization, curriculum and content, professional development, and enculturation to enable higher learning institutions to implement their e-learning initiatives. In 2018, the PAN 2.0 was launched to further complement the original policies with an emphasis on globalized online learning, which gave focus on further widening access to education at all levels of age. The Malaysia Education Blueprint 2015-2025, which is higher education, had outlined the importance of digitalization in education by listing the strategic approach of globalized online learning as one of the 10 shifts in ensuring Malaysians graduates are well prepared to thrive in this complex and ever-changing future. At this point of time, Malaysia had faced few issues and challenges in reaching total digital transformation and ensuring educational technology is accessible to all. These challenges include on governance matters, be it in policy level and execution level, digital competency level, or our academics and students, countries' readiness in infrastructure and infrastructure, and the need to accelerate and widen strategic collaboration between private and public sectors. The unprecedented outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic has indirectly contributed to the rise and acceleration of online learning. With consideration to the mass lockdowns during the pandemic, online learning and online education can no longer be considered as an option. It has become a necessity. Connectivity through multimedia mobile devices, artificial intelligence or AI, and the Internet of Things or IoTs has created a new learning ecosystem in the higher education. In response to the new normal resulting from the pandemic, Malaysia's higher learning institutions have jump-started their initiatives in adopting the e-learning approaches, with a particular emphasis on the open and distance learning or ODL practices. In the coming month, the ministry will be launching its higher education digitalization plan to achieve a conducive educational technology environment. This plan is drafted taking into account on the previous e-learning policies documents and national policy on digitalization. The ministry had outlined 4 thrusts in this digitalization plan, which are building up a collaborative and dynamic governance, to have an agile and competent digital talent, to have an enabling conducive ecosystem, and to achieve visibility and sustainability in digitalization. 6 focus areas are drafted by the ministry that will spur digital transformation in the higher education system. All 6 focus areas addressed the main issues in the ecosystem, particularly with regards to accessibility and efficiency, as well as building up responsible digital native users whom lives are fully integrated with digital devices. The focus areas are: the first is governance. For an e-learning ecosystem to work effectively, it is essential that we have the right regulatory, technological, and social conditions. The governance framework of this blueprint includes organizational decision-making structures, policy making to ease implementation, processes which include operational and technical supports, and communications and relational mechanisms. The second is academic excellence. Education should be flexible, available at any time with personalization and with fluidic curricula that could cater for changes. The ministry is actively propagating the needed changes in curricula by introducing several initiatives such as experiential learning and competency-based education landscape, or better known as Excel framework, which illustrates personalization in curriculum delivery through research, industry, and community-based elements. The third is digital competency. The awareness of technology. Digital literacy comprises the skills with cognitive and social values that are essential in digital atmosphere. In ensuring our academics are fully equipped with the right skills, continuous training and specialized courses to reskill and upskill are designed to ensure the quality of the online curriculum content. At the same time, students need to be trained to be a responsible digital netizen, especially in evaluating sources, credibility, authenticity, reliability, or currency of digital content. The fourth is infrastructure and infrastructure. It is pivotal for higher education institutions to invest in the education technology infrastructure and network to harness new learning trends effectively. Collaborations with the designated industry is crucial to ensure coverage internet accessibility. A common digital e-learning platform is something that the ministry is currently focusing on, where collaborative and good quality digital contents created by higher learning institutions could be shared with each other. The fifth is research and innovations. Continuous research and innovation is part of learning to embrace emerging technologies and is crucial to intensify efforts in researching further on the potential of these technologies in teaching and learning per se. The last but not least, number 6 is acculturation. Acculturation of e-learning is a very important process in order to sustain effective teaching and learning practices within the higher education institutions' communities. It requires the enterprise-wide commitment among the higher education institutions committees. Among the initiatives introduced includes propagating awareness among higher education communities, monitoring and evaluating contents of online material to ensure its quality and giving recognition to outstanding innovation of e-learning content. Well, basically that would be all that I want to share today. I do hope that in a way this presentation will show the commitment of Malaysia in embracing digitalization, especially in the higher education ecosystem. Thank you very much for your attention.
Yeah, so thank you very much for sharing with us, Mr. Ahmad Rizal. It was an excellent presentation that we can learn from the Malaysia digitalization plan in higher educations. So, dear participants, do you still want to learn more about digital transformation from other Southeast Asia countries? Yeah, if yes, please don't go anywhere because we still have 3 more excellent speakers in these sessions. So I will introduce you to the 4th speaker from the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, Republic of Indonesia. So she is Dr. Pratiwi Wini Artati, an educational technology specialist from the Data and Information Technology Center or Pusdatin, well, the neighbor of Simolek. So she recently got her PhD last year from the University of Wellington, New Zealand, for her social cognitive research in collaboration with the Indonesia Google Educators Groups. So congratulations, Bu. And then without further ado, please welcome Ibu Pratiwi. The screen is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace be with us all. Firstly, allow me to express my gratitude to Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization, Regional Open Learning Center, for having me in this international webinar. Secondly, I would like to extend my appreciation to the Director of Simeo Regional Open Learning Center for the warm welcome, to the Secretary General, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, Republic of Indonesia for the enlightening opening remarks, and to all panelists, colleagues who are representing Southeast Asia in this international webinar for the shared insights and expertise. It is an honor for me to be part of this event. With the main theme of Edtech implementation in the post-COVID era to support open distance learning in Southeast Asia, allow me Pratiwi Wini Artati, representing Center for Data and Information Technology or Pusdatin, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, Republic of Indonesia, to share about transforming digital ecosystem through Merdeka Belajar or emancipated learning in Indonesia as the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology's policy and support. Let me share my screen. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know that COVID-19 pandemic is indeed a tough test for all nations, specifically in the education sector. The policies taken by many countries, including Indonesia, by dismissing all face-to-face and physically direct educational activities, make the government and related institutions must present alternative scenarios for educational processes, not only for students, but also teachers and lecturers in order to ensure continuity of learning for all. In this case, disadvantaged students and teachers, also lecturers teaching in the under-resourced regions, were likely to be hit hardest by the school and university closure. As a big nation, Indonesia has its own challenges that are complex and unique, particularly in the aspect of education. Before pandemic, based on PISA result in 2018, Indonesia has already had a crisis in learning achievement, and this has been exacerbated by COVID, which has deepened the inequalities in learning achievement. The evidence from Inovasi study in 2021 by Puslitjak, or Center of Education Policy and Standard, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, there are two urgent matters to resolve due to pandemic, namely learning loss and digital learning gap, which are, of course, adding to Indonesia's existing educational challenges. In the mid-2020, with the school and university closure and all kinds of learning activities were conducted mainly from home, or in another term is learning from home, the Minister of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, Nadiem Makarim, or we usually refer to him as Mas Nadiem, introduced an initiative of Merdeka Belajar, or emancipated learning, as one of the efforts to keep the spark of learning going. The philosophy of Merdeka Belajar is giving freedom and autonomy to educational institutions and to break free from ineffective bureaucracy. For example, eradicating complicated bureaucracy for teachers and lecturers in terms of administrative tasks and providing students with the freedom to choose their preferred fields. The concept of Merdeka Belajar itself has also experienced a shifting. At the beginning of its declaration, it was mostly referred to as freedom to learn or freedom of learning. But over time, there has been a shift from what was originally freedom to emancipated. So for now, Merdeka Belajar is leaning towards emancipated learning because it focuses more on the aspect of autonomy, which is not just freedom, but rather on the ability to be independent in making decisions and make choices through careful considerations in accordance with the situation, condition, and needs. There are three important ideas underpinning the initiative of Merdeka Belajar. One, it embodies the spirit to developing technology-based education ecosystem from hardware, software to humanware. Two, it encourages collaboration or multi-collaborative effort with all related stakeholders focusing in improving learning and enhancing the quality of education. Three, it utilizes data and information technology innovation as policy framework and learning strategy. The main goal of Merdeka Belajar is quality education for all, with all related stakeholders, including students, becoming agents of change and giving impact and support, leading towards transformational organizations, education technology-based companies or industry for high participation rate, quality learning outcome, and equal distribution in the geographical and socioeconomic context. For this to achieve, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology sets 4 priority agendas to improve infrastructure and technology, to improve policy procedure and funding, to improve leadership, society, and culture, and to improve curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment. The following are some of supports and grants provided by Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology to assist teachers, lecturers, and students learning, particularly during the hardest time of COVID. Among them are looseness for school operational cost, additional school operational costs for private and national school, additional teacher allowance, subsidy for internet quota, and subsidy for college fee. Along the way, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology has made adjustments to education policies and provided initiatives, alternatives, and programs as an effort to overcome educational challenges, including the learning loss and digital learning gap. Therefore, since 2021 until recently, there have been 22 episodes or programs within the initiative of Merdeka Belajar. Let us dive in a little further in each episode. Episode 1 sets 4 national education policies to change the paradigm and old ways of teaching and learning towards advancement. Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology scrapped the standardized national examination, replacing the national examination with the national assessment, simplifying the learning implementation plan, and establishing a more flexible state school enrollment selection policy. Episode 2 deals with the independent campus program, providing both universities and students flexibility in moving forward to support the enhancement of lecture quality. Episode 3 of Merdeka Belajar regards a change in the use of school operational aid, or BOS, starting from the 2020 budget. With a new mechanism, the BOS could be distributed to schools on time and could reach the right target. Episode 4 is the Activator Organization Program that embodies the spirit of Gotong Royong, or mutual cooperation involving all parties to create transformations in order to enhance the quality of education more massively and more sustainable. Episode 5 has to do with the Activator Teacher Program that helps teachers become activators and motors of the country's educational transformation who can advocate for the holistic growth of students. Episode 6 is the undertaking of governmental transformation with regard to higher education, so that the universities are expected to produce graduates who are creative and have entrepreneurial spirit with social sensitivity and a global perspective, equipped with knowledge and skills that could be readily used by business and industry. Episode 7 involves the Activator School Program, under which activators are expected to accelerate schools under all circumstances to move forward 1 or 2 phases faster. The program is implemented in stages and in an integrated manner, with the ecosystem expected to drive all schools in Indonesia to become school activators. Episode 8 sets a policy regarding SMK Pusat Keunggulan, or Center of Excellence Vocational High School, for strengthening and scaling up vocational education, such as expanding industry and business networks as partners of learning. Episode 9 sets a policy on the Indonesia Smart Card, or KIP, Kuliah Merdeka, that aims to ensure that students from less fortunate families can further their studies at higher educational institutions. Episode 10 sets a policy for the extension of the Endowment Fund for Education, or LPDP, scholarship program. Episode 11 is focused on independent vocational campus through Vocational Competitive Fund for supporting programs that can speed up the readiness for professional workforce and the sector of strategic industry. Episode 12 is centralized on safe budgeting and spending with procurement information system for schools. With a digital platform of SIPLA, schools can conduct the budgeting and procurement more safely, more transparent, and more efficient. Episode 13 is about freedom to cultural expression through Indonesiana channel. This channel is dedicated to nurture, integrate, and promote cultural creation, products, and expression, and can be accessed at indonesiana.tv. Episode 14 sets out a policy ensuring independent campus with zero sexual violence for safer higher education learning environment. Episode 15 focuses on Merdeka Curriculum and Merdeka Mengajar digital platform. The Merdeka Curriculum is the refinement from the previous curriculum with the spirit and philosophy of Merdeka Belajar, and the launching of a Merdeka Mengajar digital platform aims at assisting teachers in the acceleration of learning quality and the improvement of teacher capacity building, particularly in digital skills. Episode 16 sets out a policy on funding acceleration and increase in early childhood education program and equivalent education program. Within this episode, digital platforms for administrative management for school resources are introduced, namely Arkas, Siplah, and Tanya Bos. Episode 17 is about the revitalization of local languages, collaborating with 1,491 local language communities, 29,370 teachers, 17,955 school principals, and 1,175 school superintendent. The revitalization program is designed to be conducted dynamically and adaptive in order to maintain the existence of local languages. Episode 18 is focused on freedom to cultural expression through Dana Indonesiana. This program is in cooperation with Dana to help the recovery of financing cultural activities and cultural-based micro, small, and medium enterprises to be more sustainable and flexible. Episode 19 is about assessment and evaluation that can be done more thoroughly and accurately through education digital platform, namely Rapor Pendidikan. Episode 20 involves practitioner teachers program. Through this program, the minister called on industry practitioners to visit universities to give lecture to students and lectures to bring improvement to the learning system at universities. So students can learn updated case study methods, apply knowledge and theories learned for problem solving, and improve their soft skills through teamwork. Episode 21 sets out a policy on higher education endowment fund program as a supporting ecosystem in the form of policies and systems to build globally competitive higher education governance, to promote higher education for more collaboration, innovation, and creativity with private sectors. Episode 22 recently set out a policy on transformation of state university entrance selection. The new direction of transformation of the admission into state universities is carried out through 5 principles of change, namely encouraging comprehensive learning, focusing more on reasoning abilities, being more inclusive and more accommodating to the diversity of students, being more transparent, being more integrated by covering not only undergraduate programs, but also Diploma 3 and Diploma 4 or applied bachelor programs. With the spirit of Merdeka Belajar, Pusdatin also provides support and resources through planning, development, monitoring, and prototyping variety of digital resources of platforms and applications for learning and education administration. Accordingly, through every policy and program that Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology has implemented so far, we are doing the best we can to support the transformation of digital ecosystem for education and students for exploring their best potentials to improve the quality of independent, contextual, creative, and innovative learning as part of contributing to the betterment of education as global citizen. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to end my presentation by affirming that although COVID-19 has been hitting us hard and has tested the ability of our countries, of all nations, it is still a blessing in disguise. As with this pandemic, there have been incredible lessons learned, pushing us to widen our mindset, strengthen our ability for problem solving, digital exploration, and collaboration as never before, and to be able to take wisdom by continuing to strive and endeavor to find solutions to every problem and challenge that exists. Let us continue doing our best to persevere. I guess that's all that I can share for today. Thank you for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for sharing with us, Ibu Pratiwi, the latest policy and the implementations of digital transformation under Merdeka Belajar in Indonesia. It was very excellent. And then next, we will have a sharing of vocational education in Cambodia. We will have Dr. Mick Chanteng with us. He is currently a Deputy Director of the Vocational Orientation Department, Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport, Cambodia. He is in charge of the technical education curriculum development and research. So may I kindly remind you, sir, that you will have 15 minutes to present. Please welcome Dr. Mick Chanteng. The screen is yours.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. In the name of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport, Cambodia, would like to express my sincere thanks to Sip Imoli Flex. It is a great honor for me to present the title. Let me share the screen, please. My presentation today is Edtech clinical education implementation post COVID era in Cambodia. My presentation today will cover the
Dr. Chanteng, may you speak loudly? May you speak louder? Yeah.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, now it's better. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Let me.
Yeah.
My presentation today will cover with 5 points. The first, overview of the COVID-19 response and context, and the second, COVID-19 response in policy of Edtech, and the third, best practice of Edtech, and conclusion and end with questions. The first presentation of my point is the impact of the COVID-19 learning. As we can see, everyone in the world can get impact of the COVID-19 pandemic that has caused unprecedented interruption to schooling. The research and data show that we have the learning loss around the world, and it has impact on the people socio-economic situation and welfare. The other one that we can see, before the pandemic, 53% of children in the low and middle income countries were unable to read and write at the age 10, and the rate of the improvement in learning were already very low. After the COVID-19, the learning poverty rate could be as high as just 20%. The rate is very high, and we can compare with before and after COVID. The urgent action is needed to ensure that the generation of students receive education that is better than the past generations. In Cambodian context, we also see that students who fail, they demonstrate basic proficiency increase from 33 to 45 in Khmer language, and from 49% to 64% in mathematics. As we can see, the COVID-19 pandemic response from the government policy, Ministry of Education guidelines, and the school implementation. Government policy level, we see that Cambodian government fast and effective response to control the spread of virus through the state of that we can say people lives first, and then emergency law, COVID-19 vaccine for the people in the nationwide, and also we conduct the digital government policy. As you can see, Ministry level guidelines take action to protect and ensure that the student will safe and learn, and also issue the response plan to COVID-19, so we can engage distance and e-learning through TV, online platform, and also the student can continue their study program from home, and also support and provide the material to protect the student and continue their learning from home. At the school level, we can see implementation of curriculum and instruction assessment still contact still implement in the school level, so the student and teachers learn from the distance through social media platform, YouTube, Facebook Live, and also Facebook page messages, and broadcasting TV, and also website, classroom, and Microsoft Teams televisions. In the ministry level, we also the Ministry of Education that reform Edtech for better education. From we encourage the school to use to promote digital education in our activity in the class, and also work from home, learn from home. And now we go through the Edtech technical education implement in the post-COVID-19 at the secondary education in Cambodia. And now we would like to brief the definition of Edtech. Yeah, we can see the practice of faculty learning and improvement performance by creating, using, and manage appropriate technological process and resource. And also the paper that we can use here to as a systematic way of design, carry out, and evaluate the total of learning mission like that, and especially to employ the combination of human and technical resource to bring out a more effective, efficient, the good information that we can combine the use of computer hardware, software, and educational theory practice in order to facilitate learning, technical education, to create and use many technical process and educational resource to help improve the use of academic performance like that. Yeah. That we can see the Edtech and educational technology we can made up of the computer software, hardware, and theory to improve traditional method like this one. Now we would like to briefly explain about technology for education based on online and the place. We can also metric like online, on-site, and online. Yes, we also see synchronous learning and asynchronous learnings. We prepare the self-access learning center for every student and teacher to learn by themselves. But during the COVID-19, we couldn't use a classroom together like this one, so we can conduct online process. This is a cooperation tool that we can use in our class, but this one that we can use during the COVID-19 pandemic, usually conference like Classroom, Microsoft Teams, Classroom Meet, or gather like that, and we can use this to support to learn online. And also we conduct the course media design by use the website like this one. The other one that we can use this one, the traditional course conducted by Ministry of Education, traditional website facilitated and blended hybrid and also online. Most of the teachers in Cambodia during COVID-19 pandemic, we use a classroom, Google Classroom. This one we also invite the student to create email, and then we can use Microsoft like Google Classroom. This one I just only show you, so that we can use data to tracking progress, adaptive contact, and improvement possibility for self-directed self-reflection, accessibility, to remove barrier from the access content activity. Anyone that can join our class as blended learning, and also learning digital skill. The first that we are challenged with the student and our teacher learning digital skill, because I think that they were not similar to digital education. We some teachers couldn't use digital education, just only a traditional one, but during pandemic COVID-19, and they forced to use this one digital literacy skill that have become important. Versatility, and also we usual simulation make abstract concept concrete and help understand the concept of clearly. And interactivity, and also stand well frame personalized feedback for every student and every minute of the day. And the creativity that we can share and cooperation with our students and teachers. Teachers can create movie or presentation online and then send by Telegram or email or Google Classroom, Google like that. As that we can see, to use a digital education in Cambodia, we also consider with data that we can store in our website, and also there's our social media. And technology is very important that we can use to communicate and learning online with our student. The most important than that, student and teacher also are awareness of learning digital skill. Yes, and then we can use efficiency as that we can use as a technical education that we can conduct in technical education curriculum. We focus on learning to respond to the need, interest, ability of learner to active participation, make decision and responsibility in order to produce creativity, critical thinking, cooperation, ownership, and practical. You can see the goal of a technical education curriculum to develop a student with competency in responsive to community need, labor market needs and lifelong learning that promote socio-economic development today and in the futures. The principle of our curriculum that we can how to create the ownership and diligence, creativity and innovation, communication, problem solving, and lifelong learning that you can see. And this one, the curriculum oriented, the future orientation, and practical employment oriented and learning oriented, local and world oriented, and economic development oriented. These are our curriculum that we can design. How to develop the student to be a critical thinkers, good creative thinker, good practitioner, good problem solver, to become a good citizen in Cambodia. Here our curriculum that we focus on student, teachers, and curriculum material and equipment. Here that just only the holistic educational system in Cambodia, such as curriculum, instruction, assessment, material, equipment. We also have a laboratory, workshop, and infrastructure to support the curriculum. And then we also enhance the management of our school. Especially we engage the public, private, and partnership to involve with the technical education here. Our design, we also practice, focus on the practice, study visit, community projects, school project, and internship program. The stakeholders engagement here, we also develop our teacher to be qualified teacher, student industrial, and other stakeholder in technical education in order to meet our government policy. Also mentioned that all for education and cultivate one use, one skill to respond to the government policy, grow employment, equity, and efficiencies in order to improve the social economic development, so that our government to achieve the main goal of the government vision 2030 and 50s. For my presentation here, just only we must seize this opportunity, but to reimage digital qualification and build system that is digital access. How can we promote our student and teacher to access the digital education, and then we engage them to study more, to upskill and reskill about technical skill, and then to digital literacy in our policy. And then we also promote equitable policy, efficiency, and then resilience for our students. In my conclusion, that Cambodian is heading toward digital education, digital economy, a trend which is demand major change to the current situation system to usher in digital education. The Ministry of Education, Hong Chunaron, stated that we must transform economic, transform COVID-19 crisis to the opportunity for accelerating digital education. Take the opportunity. He said that the COVID-19 pandemic has forced digital education in Cambodia to speed faster than 10 years as usual. Even though the COVID-19 has been ended, digital education has still played the key role in education in Cambodia. Okay, thank you for your kind attention on my presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for your excellent presentation. So thank you for sharing the educational technology used by Cambodian teachers and students during the pandemic. So dear participants, we will have our final speaker in these sessions. May I remind you, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to raise them on the YouTube chat box. Our colleague will assist you. And then we will have 15 minutes Q&A sessions after the last presenter. So we will have speaker from Hanoi Open University, the Director of Technology and Learning Material Center, Dr. Din Ten Long. So please welcome Dr. Din Ten Long. The screen is yours.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, today I am honored to be here to participate in an international conference organized in a very special way like this, to make a small contribution to open and distance learning in the post-COVID time. In my very short presentation, I would like to make a short story about what did we do from before, in, and after COVID-19, then have some conclusion. Before COVID, we always had a clear division of traditional learning and online learning. First one is the face-to-face model. Students need to go to class, and second one is the distant model, in which students don't need to join class directly, but remotely through various methods. There are many discussions about which one is better. Traditional learning or online learning is better? I think that some of you still wondering about this problem. Someone said traditional learning is better because we can have more interact between teacher and student. We can use body language, can take care of student mind. So it's better. In the other hand, online learning have people join class from anywhere, anytime. Borderless, people can have work and study at the same time. So I think at that time, this kind of discussing can't be stopped. No one can prove which one is better. Especially before COVID, we avoid to talk about online examination. Most of the people think that it's very difficult to implement real online examination, in which examiners stay at their home and do the exam by themselves. People believe that students need to go to a place for exam under supervisor is the best and safe way to implement the examination, especially for degree program. There are many difficulties for organizations which want to do the online examination. For example, to have the good online examination, people require have good internet connection. They require computer or smart mobile device, and sometimes students not meet the need. Students need to be trained, and maybe not only the student, even the teacher need to be trained before implement an online examination. And very hard to authenticate examiner. Is that the right one sit on their computer to do the examination, and how to avoid cheating in the exam is the own reason. Restrict growth of online examination, and the implementation of online examination is very limited and experimental. On November 2019, first COVID patient appeared and spread worldwide in short time, then become one of the most dangerous pandemic that can seriously affect people's life. Almost schools had to close. Students couldn't go to class. People need to stay home, isolated with the other. It only happened in short time, not big problem. But if that situation lasts for a long time, for years, there will be big problem. People trying to find a way to keep working, keep studying in that period. And so, to maintain education, the implementation of e-learning becomes the only option. In that period, e-learning was not something new and has been mentioned by many scholars being deployed in many places. But however, perhaps people think it is simple and this is the most basic reason for all problems arising after that. At that time, schools apply online learning in many ways, only in very short time. Maybe they have only 1 or 2 weeks to do that. From teaching by television or using internet, try to using Teams, Google Meet, Zoom, or for synchronous online lesson. Teachers, students, and student parents have no time for preparing for a new method of learning. At first, everything seemed okay. They can do e-learning easily and successfully. But after time passed, there was many issues appear. We easily found out that a lot of complaints about online learning in newspaper everywhere. So we would like to change this situation. For example, difficult to manage online classroom, especially when it expands the number of students. Teachers have to know what do the students do. Are they learning or doing something else? Most of the time, teachers become transfer knowledge on one way and have to manage the quality control. Teachers who using social network find out that they need to work harder than ever. They need to check message every time. And after a long time, not only the teacher, also the student is very hard to find what did they communicate with teacher because of massive messages in their phone. When the students study by themselves at home, there are so many things can happen and disruption their lesson. If they haven't got their own quiet place, anything happen can interrupt the learning process. And there is a truth that many people do not understand about online learning, including teacher and student at that time. Even the most basic knowledge such as synchronous learning and asynchronous learning is not common. This leads to over expectation for their online learning, and it's easy to doubt success when facing some difficulty. For K-12, especially the elementary school, not only students but parents need to join the learning process. And another issue, it's very difficult to assess the quality of learning online because the technical issue. For example, we cannot authorize a learner or not easy to control student computer while they doing some online tests. Lastly is when we apply massive online learning, there will be security and safety issue appear. Even there was many issues happen, but after 2 years of COVID, problem seem to be solved. E-learning had more than 1.6 billion students from 150 countries all over the world can study. No one left behind. Online become normal. Everyone is used to working online, learning online, no longer discussing about the advantage and disadvantage of learning methods anymore. They only exchange experience and discuss how to make it better. Belong to online learning, educational organizations need to do the online examination because there's no other choice. But the fact it's not easy. Most of the university, when do the online examination, will face two main challenges. First is authentication. How do we can make sure that the right student is doing the examination? And the second is how to avoid cheating in online examination. when students at home and do the exam alone. There are many methods would apply. In this presentation, I want to share some experience from Hanoi Open University. For online authentication, nowadays we hear about the development of AI, and of course we can apply AI in face recognition and have authenticate students remotely. When students start their online exam, they need to pass the AI face recognition, even they had to use the username and password. Now with the high technology, face recognition fail ratio is very small, and we still may extend the other solution for this issue, such as checking ID card and face through online video conference. We can capture image of student with ID card and store for checking after the examination. Not only when students start the exam, online system can take screen snapshot and student face continuously, or a schedule, for example, 30 seconds, and we can check it to make sure that student is the right person or not. For the second challenge, how to avoid online exam cheating is more complicated because they can get help from other person or other device. So we concentrate on three things: monitoring exam room space, supervisor student computer with use for the examination, and monitor student face and eye. To monitor exam room space, luckily we know that the webcam is very popular nowadays, and usually we ask two cameras to have full view of the examination room. We require students turn on their camera while they are doing the examination and keep connect with their camera. We limit the number of students to join in one examination room and have two supervisors to check all student camera all the time. We also can ask them turn on computer microphone to make sure that there are no doubt about someone can speak something out. The more difficult is how to supervise student computer. We can use software that can control student computer remotely, or we can use special browser such as Safe and Exam browser. With this browser, students cannot do anything in their computer except the online exam interface. And the last one, we apply AI on tracking student eye and face emotional. So the system can warning when the detect student suspect action. This method was developed and applied in many places in the world, not only HOU, and get accepted by people and organizations. So, and online examination had accepted in many degree programs now. COVID seems possible, not getting better, and not getting much concern from people. University back to normal life, people back to normal life. But there are many changes in education. People change their mind about online learning. Blended learning become more and more popular. People understand about open and distance learning. And there are many reliable forms for online examination implementation that can be applied in ODL. Government, social organization, and people have understood and accept the online form of examination. There are many ways to deploy online examination, and not only for open and distance learning, even for normal learning, the traditional learning. We can create perfect push for the online training picture, which is the basis for the development of open and distance learning. And for the conclusion, online training had developed and played a huge role in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. In the past 2 years, Many ways of implementing online training and online examination have been improved, applied, and proven its effectiveness. That these methods are not only applicable during the COVID period, but a huge step forward, especially having achieved widespread acceptance from everywhere, which will help accelerate the development of open and distance learning in the next period. Thank you for your listening.
Yeah, so thank you for your excellent presentation, sir. You emphasized the challenge of the online examination and share the latest initiative by the HOU, Technology and Learning Material Center. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, participants of the Simolec International webinar, finally we end all the presentations and come to the Q&A sessions. So, may I invite host to share the first questions? Yes, so the first question addressed to Dr. Tintin A from Mr. Rosario. Yeah, so the question is, what are the challenges faced by Myanmar, especially in YUDE, regarding the implementation of Edtech during the pandemic, and what are your strategies to solve it? Dr. Tintin A, are you still here? Okay, I think Dr. Tintin, I still have. Oh, okay. Yes, please, ma'am.
Yeah, I would like to clarify your question. It's that in our YUD face many challenges faced in COVID-19 periods, and some the first challenge is human factor and technological factors. And in our country, situation is, and that time, these factors are challenges for our YUDE this time.
Yes. Yeah, so yeah, the Myanmar situation right now is you are also still struggle, yeah, ma'am. You are. Yeah, and then yeah, as Dr. Tintin I said that they still want to solve the human resource and also technological factors that right now the YUDE facing a challenge. So may we go to the second questions?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, to our Thai colleague. Yeah, the questions from Miss Linda. So, is there any specific strategy you use to improve the students' confidence in English during the online class?
Yes, actually, we have lots of strategies to improve, their confidence. But actually, the atmosphere of learning and teaching is very important. So, first of all, I think it's like teacher friendly, So we have to be friends with the students. But anyway, in the case when we are friends with the students, we have like a negative effect as well. So sometimes they just, don't want to study. They'll say like some kind of like, I don't want to do any homework, so no homework today. But anyway, we still need the atmosphere of, be friends with the students, like, and in the research, like lots of research. And they say if we have like some kind of social connection through Facebook, Twitter, TikTok application, so that helps students as well. So because of they will want to answer the questions, or they want to ask us some kind of questions that they don't want to ask before, as in the culture in Thai cultures. They don't want to participate much. They just keep quiet in class. They don't want to, you know, speak up. I don't know whether it happens with or other Asian countries, where in Thailand they are just like that. As in, do you want to add up some more things?
Yeah, just like Ajahn Sita said, teachers' behavior, teachers' relationship with the students is very crucial. But also, some students may want to know what they are going to study in advance, you know, like planning in advance what they are going to do, what is the assignment. So this kind of thing we can manage. So it's bring us back to learning management in classroom. So I think all of these elements are very effective if we use to promote students' participation and motivation in class. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you, Ajahn Sita and Ajahn Wanaprapa. Yeah, so yes, we need to maintain the students' engagement, yeah, during the online process. Yeah. So may we go to the third questions? Yeah. So we have questions from Surabaya. Yeah. Actually, it is still related with what Ajahn Sita said, also related to the self-regulated learning. Yeah. But I think these questions could be addressed also to other speakers. Yeah. So how can teachers examine the insight into the students' self-regulated learning during the pandemic? Yeah. So right now they are used to with the distant learning. Yeah. There is a tendency for students' enthusiasm to go to schools decrease. Yeah. So what do you think about this statement? Yeah. Probably first to our colleague from Thailand, and then I will give time for others also to respond to this question.
Yes, for self-regulated learning, it's self-regulated learning is an important factors that promote students successful because they direct their own learning. They are responsible to their learning. So this is the things that we should promote. How to investigate this student self-directed or self-regulated learning, right? So I think one of the important way that we can do it is to ask them directly about their cognition, their concerns about their knowledge, about their cognition, about their motivation, their goals, their expectation of the course, and also about their context, at home. Are they confident studying online, or do they have any concerns studying on site? So these are elements that will affect students' self-regulated learning. So if you want to know the level of your students' self-regulated learning, you just ask them, with design questions in order to see what element will affect the self-regulated learning dimension the most. So just ask them.
Yeah, so thank you, Achan. Dr. Long, do you have anything to add? Maybe you also have the experience, how to motivate students to do self-regulated learning. Please, Dr. Long. Host, can you unmute Dr. Long?
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. And for the online learning, I think that there must be something to engage students and how to engage students. It's very interesting problem. We discussed for very long time, and for my point of view, I think that nowadays after COVID time, because we have 2 years of making the online learning, so people now more familiar with the online learning, and they think that online learning is the one perfect method for open and distance learning. But for to engaging students, I think that we need to think about how to teach. There are several factors The first one is about the learning material. For the asynchronous learning, e-learning, the student they learn by themselves on the system, and most of the time they will use the learning material we provide through the system, and it means that we need to make the content is more interactive, more interesting. Maybe we integrated some gamification or something. It makes students more interested with the content. The second one, the content shouldn't be too long. The content should be divided into some small parts. And for some European countries, they provide a kind of micro-learning. It means that one subject they divide into many small subjects, and each small subject is a kind of micro-learning. Maybe it's only 5 or 10 minutes. It's enough for one thing we can provide to students. And when they can explore that kind of knowledge, maybe this will make the student more interested with our system, our learning system. And the second one is the synchronous learning. And for the synchronous learning, everything is changed for the face-to-face learning, because the teacher and student only meet each other through the system and a very small screen. It means that the teacher need to change their mind, change their method, not only teaching like traditional way. It means that one way teaching, the teacher need to make more action in the lesson. For example, asking more, having something, some kind of job to, and asking students need to do something, and they will show out the result of their work or something like that. I think that kind of changing may make the online learning is more engaging with for students. It is my point of view, my idea.
Thank you very much, Dr. Long. It is very excellent. Yeah, you emphasize the quality of the content learning, and then you need to make it like micro learnings. Yeah, so not the whole, but you need to chunk it. Yeah. So, well, thank you very much for sharing. And I think I want to hear also from Dr. Mick, because you are in charge for the vocational education. Yeah, so it will be a little bit more challenge in the vocational educations. Yeah, what do you think, Dr. Mit, related to the self-regulated learning? Yeah, how to promote the self-regulated learning for vocational students, please?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity for me to answer these questions. Yeah, I think that it's very most important to know about self-directed learning. It's very special, especially in COVID-19 pandemics. We also promote the students learning online. The most important than that, the student have to have awareness of accelerated learnings, yeah, because the teachers could not see any time of the student activity, especially in learning process. I think that a student should have awareness of importance of a learning goal. They set the goal why they are studying. So they set the goal. They just know about what. Now we have any information, data, or information that we need, just only access to the internet. Responsible to now we promote 21st century skill, especially learning skill. We also have 3C, critical learning, creativity, a problem showing, and also promote the student to innovation, to have innovation by themselves. But we are facing with a technical education. Technical education, not only the theory, but also focus on practical work. During the COVID-19 pandemic, it is very, it was very hard to gather the student in the workshop because we were afraid of spreading COVID-19 virus, and then we keep just only as a student to practice at home, and then took video record, sent to their teacher to evaluate like that. But after COVID-19, we also ask them to practice in the class, in the workshop, in the laboratories, so we can complete what we had, what we missed, our technical team. Yeah, I think very important than that, selected learning to still in our student, not only during COVID-19. The post-COVID-19 is very most important, that we can lead them to share directed, just setting the goal and then to get the goal. If any challenges or any help, you can go to ask advice from their teachers. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing, Dr. Mekia, because, well, as we know that the technical and vocational education, they need the hands-on workshop, right? So they need to go on-site, but we know that the online learning can support for the theoretical, right? So, well, actually, we already a little bit late, but here we have Ibu Pratiwi. May you share a bit, Bu Pratiwi?
Oh, of course. Can you repeat the question again, please?
Well, related to the self-regulated
self-regulated
learning. Yeah. So, what do you think? Yeah, what we can do to promote the self-regulated learning for students, please, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. Well, after listening to our colleagues sharing their expertise in how teacher can improve the self-regulated learnings of their students, well, this is based on my experience sharing with the teachers through their training. According to what I have heard from my colleague teachers, that self-regulated learning itself actually is not enough. Why? Because, well, there are diverse characters of students, right? So there are, we can call it like less enthusiastic students. And also there are also very enthusiastic students. So there are a variety of characteristics of students. So we need some kind of strategy that combines all kinds of learning that is possible to spark the curiosity of learning from their students. We can combine the hybrid learning, the blended learning, face-to-face learning, micro-learning, customized learning, collaborative learning, anything that can spark their creativity, and also that is not too heavy. So that's what I called customization when it comes to learning management, because the key is actually the teachers, the learning materials, and the learning environment itself. So it's rather complex, it's rather tricky, but after communicating well between teachers and the students, so good communication also matters, because without it, it's impossible to really understand the students one by one, because every student has a special needs, so special characteristics as well. So it is important to take in mind that this is about how creative the teachers are, and how the teachers can create a kind of learning environment that enables students to explore further and to keep the spark of learning through their curiosity. I think that's all. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Ibu Pratiwi. So, well, we already passed the time, yeah. So thank you very much for sharing here our excellent speakers here. Yeah, we can discuss more, but well, our time here is limited. So may I give it back to Ms. Dania, our MC. Thank you very much. Yeah, and then see you again in the next opportunity.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cahya, and to our inspiring speakers. I believe the materials that were shared have been insightful to our participants. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you still excited to be in this webinar? Because there is still a second session with 3 excellent speakers from Indonesia. I am sure that the material that will be presented by our next speakers will also be very useful, especially to support open distance learning. We also prepare door prize for participants who have the best answer in our questionnaire link that I will inform later at the end of the session. So without further ado, may I invite Mr. Victor Labutano as our moderators in the last session about Edtech implementation from technology industry perspective. Mr. Victor, the time is yours.
Thank you, Dania. Our webinar participants and our honorable speakers, thank you. Welcome to the second session of this webinar, Edtech implementation from technology practitioners' perspective. We will have 3 speakers, as the MC told us before, and then our first speakers come from PT Bisa AI, M. Octaviano Pratama, Eskom Mkom. I will introduce about him for a second. Mr. Octaviano Pratama is advisor at Bisa AI Academy, and just until a few months ago, he was a president director of Bisa AI Academy. He was graduate from Universitas Indonesia with master degree in computer science, and also he joined some non-degree courses in Harvard Kennedy School, Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Executive Education, and Nara Institute of Science and Technology. Mr. Octaviano also has a lot of experience in the field of application development and artificial intelligence, as well as lecturing in some universities. In this session, he will present a paper with the title, Bisa AI Academy Gamification as an Alternative for Vocational School Learning. So, Mr. Octaviano Pratama, the screen is yours.
Hi everyone, my name is Octav. Thanks for the opportunity that given to me for present our idea insight to all of the participants. So for today, I would like to present about Bisa AI Academy gamification as an alternative for vocational school learning. So let's get started. Before I started this material for today, I would like to introduce to all of the participants about Bisa AI Academy. Our company has been trusted for 5 years in education technology. We have trusted by governments to organize various vocational programs like Prakerja and Kampus Merdeka. Bisa AI Academy is an education technology platform that provides various courses in artificial intelligence or AI, Internet of Things or IoT, cybersecurity, and blockchain. We are trusted by industries, governments, and organizations to organize training, bootcamp, and event. We have several subsidiary companies as follow. For example, we have here SIAKAT, information academic system to the university and school, and then engineering platform, learning materials, and then chatbot and OCR platform, and other startup. You can access Bisa AI Academy in the URL of website bisa.ai. Here, the EdTech learning for vocational school students and alumni, our portfolio in 2022. The first is Center of Excellence Vocational Schools, or abbreviate SMK. We organize 8 Center of Excellence vocational high school, as well as manage co-working space program for encouraging Center of Excellence vocational high school. And then continue with the independent study to Polytechnic and the university. We are as one of the hosting partner of independent study from higher education, the Ministry of Education of Indonesia, or abbreviate Dikti-Kemdikbud, teach more than 1,000 students in 2022. And then continue with independent study for vocational school students. As part of Center of Excellence Vocational High School, we encourage more than 1,000 students to join independent study for vocational school. And then pre-employment program, or abbreviate Prakerja, we train alumni of vocational school as part of pre-employment program Prakerja, the Ministry of Manpower of Indonesia. And then continue with digital startup program with vocational school. We give the coaching and mentoring program for vocational school students or alumni to establish their own startup or fabrication startup. Then continue with independent internship. This program is opened by the Ministry of Education, and we as the partners organize various internship program. So here our portfolio in 2022 about the vocational school students and alumni. I would like to talk about our experience, the first experience about the organizing Center of Excellence for Vocational School. Okay, so this is the first program, the Center of Excellence for Vocational School. We conduct several Center of Excellence programs, for example, independent study for vocational students and teachers, and then internship for vocational students and teachers, building the digital startup, competency certification, establishing co-working space, product commercialization and downstream product, project and innovation center, and other program. And then also we, together with the Ministry of Education, the higher education, we conduct independent study for Polytechnic and the university. This program run as a part of Campus Merdeka program by the Minister of Education. We use various medias as follow: tampil.id, the first platform. It's something like similar with Zoom or Google Meet. We have our own video conference platform that called as tampil.id. And then continue with e-learning, Bisa AI Academy. The students can enroll the courses in e-learning Bisa AI Academy. And then continue with the EdTech platform bisa.ai, bisa.design, and bisa.business. The students can independently learning about some topics or materials about AI, IoT, 4.0 technology, design, business, UI and UX, and so on. And then also we help to conduct the pre-employment program, Kartu Prakerja, under the Ministry of Manpower of Republik Indonesia. We train the alumni of vocational school students and Polytechnic to have skills in data science and AI. So that's about our digital startup, Bisa AI Academy. Let's continue with the Bisa AI Academy gamification. In order to make the students enjoy and convenient learning about some topic in AI, data science, and other digital technology, we provide gamification for all of our learning material and outcome. Gamification strategies can make learning more fun via EdTech platform. So we started from the definition about gamification. What is gamification? Gamification is an informal umbrella terms for the using of the video games elements in non-game systems to improve the user experience and user engagement. For example, we here have the EdTech platform, and we can conduct the gamification system in order to make the students can enjoy and convenience to learn about some materials. For example, there are a lot of startups that implement gamification here. For example, in the left side, one of the biggest platform in Indonesia, Gojek, using points in order to trigger the users to have their experience. And also here the Starbucks Indonesia have the gamification levels that can encourage the user to get more points and levels. And also onboarding system in education like Duolingo to introduce the user and better knowledge about the product. So the gamification program is also can improve the performance of the system and also can make the system more and more robust and make the user more convenience in order to using the platform. We can also use the challenge here and also give the badges here for the students. And basically we have to design the gamification model canvas in order to make the gamification more interesting to the students. Here the block of gamification model canvas starting from players and then continue with aesthetics, behaviors, dynamics, mechanics, components, platforms, revenues, and also the costs. Revenues describe the economic or social return of the solution with the introduction of gamification. And then players describe who and what the people are like in whom we want to develop behaviors. Behaviors describe the behaviors or actions necessary to develop in our players in order to get returns from the projects. Aesthetics describe the desirable emotional responses evoked in the player when they interact with the game. This concept is the nearest to fun. Dynamics describe the runtime behavior of the mechanics acting on the player over time. This concept is also the nearest to the motivation. Components describe the elements or characteristics of the game to create mechanics or to give feedback to the players. Mechanics describe the rules of the game with components for creating game dynamics. And then platforms describe the platforms on which to implement game mechanics. And then costs describe the main costs or investment for the development of the projects. So here the example of Bisa AI Academy model gamification. For example, here we put the players or the segmentation of our users between 18 until 24 years old. Most of them are students and interest in AI learning, IoT learning, and digital learning. And then also the aesthetics, for example, we implement submission, challenge, and other models. Behaviors, we have the portfolio, we have the certificate, and then dynamics, we conduct storyline, for example, like portfolio, course completion, certificate, and so on. Mechanics, points, engagement loops, and components, achievement, points menu, portfolio menu, and so on. Platforms, we run our business on the website in bisa.ai and mobile apps in Bisa AI Academy. And we also have the revenue from the courses transaction. And then also for the cost or expenditure, we have to pay the operational team and also the intellectual property. By designing the gamification model canvas, we can create the gamification model in order to make the students more convenient and enjoy learning some materials. So here are several gamification models that implemented in Bisa AI Academy in order to improve learning performance by the students. We have 4 gamification model. The first one is portfolio. And then the second one is rewards, and then NFT, and the last challenge. So talking about the first gamification about the portfolio, after the students reading some materials, doing some quizzes and assignments, the students can submit their portfolio in Bisa AI Academy platform. On the other side, other students can give comments and rating for each portfolio. Portfolio can be assessed via bisa.ai/portfolio and bisa.design/portfolio. Until right now, we have 20,000 happy students in 2022, and more than 1,800 portfolio are established or submitted in 2022. Here are the example of the portfolio that produced by the students. For example, the students create the recommended system and publish into our platform, and then the prediction of the heart disease, and then also creating the systems, for example, using several APIs, and also they create some other high-tech technology and so on. The second one is the rewards. We, together with Jababeka Fab Lab, organize one of the largest digital fabrication startup coaching and mentoring program in Indonesia that called as Fab Creation, fabcreation.id. Instead of giving money as reward for the participants, we prefer to give the facility of establishing the startup to the winners as a reward. For example, after doing some stages of the creating the startups, the winners will be given the facility of establishing startup, for example, like law facility, and then mentoring and coaching, funding opportunity, and also the technology and intellectual property. Here are several startups that come from the vocational school students. For example, we have here various startups that already established and have their own legal startup. And the last is NFT. NFT basically is one of the technology that popular in this year. We create some NFT for the students that generated by the technology like blockchain and generative adversarial networks. So after completing all of the learning tasks platform, for example, in reading materials, doing some quizzes, finishing the tasks and portfolios, the students, the participants will be given NFT assets, and they can publish into other platform, other marketplace NFT platform. So the students will have more spirits to finish or complete the learning materials. Here are the example of the NFT that generated by the system. For example, here the students will be given the NFT asset like this, and they can publish it into the NFT marketplace. So after right now in 2022, we have more than 16,000 students that already passed learning course, and then 16,000 NFT generated until right now. So we also conduct the assessment for the gamification model in Bisa AI Academy to measure the impact of gamification. So the first about the how to measure or assess the portfolio. Basically, we have the feedback or comments from the students, and after collecting more than 2,000 comments or feedback from the students about the portfolio, 98% students satisfied with our learning outcome and portfolio. They give positive comments and rating for each courses, and the feedback can be seen in bisa.ai/testimonial. We use sentiment analysis model and net sentiment score to measure this feedback. After conduct some experiments, we obtain the net sentiment score plus 55. That indicated our customer satisfied with portfolio model. If you want to doing some research like this, you can reference to the calculation here, my publication. You can refer to this publication. So the assessment for NFT, we use Kappa score model to validate whether NFT gamification assists learning outcome or not to more than 300 students. And after conducting some research, we obtained the Kappa score 0.72 that indicated our validity agreement between validator is valid. And then NFT gamification can be used in gamification edutech. You can refer to this calculation. So the conclusion for this presentation is we conclude that gamification model can be implemented in education technology platform based on true story in Bisa AI Academy. So thanks for the opportunity. That's all from me.
Thank you, Mr. Octaviano. Very inspiring presentation and very interesting topics. We can see and get some information regarding Bisa AI Academy and also the business portfolio and even the feedback from the students. Yeah, we have 2,000 comments with 95% of them satisfied. It's very interesting and we can discuss it more later. And for the audience, don't forget to drop your questions if you have any question or comments on the chat box, and then we will have question and answer later after we have 3 speakers. And then for the next speakers, we will have second speakers, Ms. Jelita Cahyaningtyas, SPD. So Ms. Jelita Cahyaningtyas, SPD is working at Sinta VR as Milia Lab brand owner since May 2022. And before it as an account executive at the same company. She has an educational background with the title of Bachelor Education in Indonesian Language and Literature and 2 years experience in virtual reality company. Some of her activities related to this field, such as keynote speaker in some seminar with the Ministry of Communication and Information, and also became trainer and mentors in some trainings with the Teacher Association in DKI Jakarta, Guru Binar, Putra Sampurna Foundation, Warstek Media, and High Tech Teacher Indonesia. In this session, she will present about Milia Lab, the all-in-one virtual reality platform for educators and learners. So, Ms. Jelita, the screen is yours.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings to all participants today. For the first, I would say thank you for CMU Simulate for initiating today's webinar and tech implementation in the post-COVID era to support open distance learning in Southeast Asia. Let me introduce myself. I'm Jelita as Milia Lab owner. Today, I will share how Milia Lab, by using virtual reality technology, can support distance learning and solve some problems in several schools during and post-pandemic in learning and teaching activities. Okay, let me share my screen. Milia Lab is all-in-one virtual reality platform for educators and learners. Educators can create their 3D and virtual reality content based on their syllabus and curriculum. Milia Lab is cloud-based platform, so we offer educators hundreds of templates and 3D models to create customized virtual reality learning offers without coding skills. And Milia Lab want to make teaching and learning happier, innovative, and imaginative. This platform was launched in 2019, and Milia Lab has more than 20,000 active users in Indonesia with tagline forming Bahagia Belajar for Indonesian Education. Bahagia Belajar means happy learning, Why happy learning? Because Millet believe that a sense of happiness felt by a learner can increase motivation and understand learning material better. And Milalab is a product of Sinta PR. Let me explain a little bit about Sinta PR. Sinta PR is the most impactful virtuality company founded in 2016. And Sinta PR has 2 founders and 1 co-founders, namely Akira Su as a founder and president director who graduated from Waseda University, Japan, and then Mr. Andes Rizky as a founder and managing director who was graduate from University of Indonesia, and then Mr. Andrew Espuika as a co-founder and technical director who graduated from Aachen, German. And he also has published 2 papers for IEEE PR research. And Sinta PR had 100 projects in more than 10 countries, consisting of various companies such as oil and gas, market research, and government. Okay, when we talk about virtuality in education, there are so many academic journals and conference material that examine virtual reality used in education. That research are about implementation of virtual reality in the classroom and what is the impact of using virtual reality in learning and teaching activities. There are already hundreds of thousands of paper research about this, and the research is the effect of virtual reality on student learning can increase learning focus, improve memory, improve subject comprehension, increase positive emotion, and increase exploration. Why? As we know, because by using virtual reality, learners can experience virtual reality based learning scenario and making it easier to learners to understand learning materials because it consists of audio, visual, 3D, and virtual reality interactive. So with virtual reality, learners can understand abstract learning materials and explore learning content better. Milalab has conducted a study in 10 provinces involving 1,800 learners in Indonesia to measure the impact of using virtual reality in education. Actually, we create a control and experimental group. For a control group, we use conventional methods such as PowerPoint and then Zoom. And for the experimental group, we use virtual reality method. And the result is an increase 80% for positive emotion, increase 94% for subject comprehension. And Milalab also measures some learner with MindWave, which are brain impulse tools that measure relaxation and focus. Maybe we can see together this video. Yeah. In this graphic, there are red line and blue line. And for the red one is attention, and for the blue one is meditation. And the result is for attention and meditation are above average. It means learners focus, but they enjoyed the learning process while using virtual reality, so they will achieve learning material better. For the next case study, Milalab measures student learning outcomes, and here are some examples of research data from several schools in Indonesia, where it can be seen that there is one school, namely SMP 2 Banjarnegara. Before using virtual reality, the lowest score is 40. While after using virtual reality, the lowest score is 80. So there is an increase 100%. And the average class score increased by 38% after using Milalab. Okay, this is video which show us about how Milalab can be used in online mode. Let we see together.
Oke, kita baca basmalah terlebih dahulu supaya berkah, dan ilmu yang kita sharing hari ini, yang kita bagi bersama, kita pelajari hari ini bersama, bisa tetap diingat, bisa tetap bermanfaat buat kita semua. Oke, dalam hitungan ketiga kita bareng-bareng membaca basmalah ya. 1, 2, 3. Dan ilmu yang kita sharing hari ini, yang kita bagi bersama, kita pelajari hari ini bersama, bisa tetap diingat, bisa tetap bermanfaat buat kita semua. Oke, Dandi dilanjut ya. Oke, Adi masih lihat-lihat, puter kanan, puter kiri, Adi. Gak bisa lihat. Intan masih lihat, Gaudi masih lihat, Asadil masih lihat. Hamas sudah selesai, Hamas. Hamas sudah duduk kembali, sudah selesai ya.
Okay, that video show us how MiaLab can increase happiness of learners while using tutorial in the classroom. And then this is video show us how MiaLab can be used in an offline mode. This video is from SMN 2 Abian sama Bali and SMKN 1 Harwangi West Java. Let's see together. Okay, and if we talk about the educational needs in 4.0 era, which is heading towards to 5.0, we need technological skilled educators to encourage increased interaction and contact between educators and learners through virtuality-based learning. And for the second, decentralized learning research. Through virtual reality lab, our mission is to democratize of access of learning resources that are evenly distributed to educational institutions, because as we know, access and facilities are not evenly distributed in Indonesia. Some schools in cities have better access and learning facilities than schools in several districts or small island. This is very limited access and learning facilities. And if we use virtual reality technology, it automatically makes school more independent, because through virtual reality technology can support schools in minimizing the cost of education. Okay, and MiaLab and Education 4.0. MiaLab has an advisor, Professor Indrajit, who makes MiaLab as a technology that maintains the content of educational pedagogy itself. So MiaLab applies the cyber pedagogy first developed by the MiaLab advisor to the technology pedagogy platform. And MiaLab have various types of learning modes. So MiaLab can be used in online, offline, hybrid, and blended learning settings. And MiaLab is a community-based platform, because our content developed by educators is based on their syllabus and curriculum from various subjects. And our community is very active, spreading the good impact of using virtual reality in education, in their schools, in their area, in their educational organization, etc. Okay, this is MiaLab system. So MLab is consists of MLab creator and MLab viewer. So educators can create virtual content with the MLab creator easily with just drag and drop without coding. And we have provide thousands of assets and multiple interaction which can be used in MLab creator. So the educators can use their laptop or PC with mid to low specs. And educators can save their tutorial content in the classroom and share it to their learners. And the learners can access using Milale Viewer on their smartphone with mid to low specs. And learners can choose with using 3D mode in left side or virtual reality mode in right side. And MLab viewer also can be accessed using semi-offline mode. Okay, MLab have student behavior data. This means that MLab can track learners' habit in virtual content, whether learners are repeating a journey from one point to another point, and then how they interact in the virtual reality classroom with some objects and repeating video and quizzes or etc. All are recorded in the behavior of the data dashboard. So educators can analyze the learners for their understanding and knowledge of the learning material. This is the distribution of virtual reality ambassador. MLab has virtual reality ambassador in several regions in Indonesia, consisting of 280 plus virtual reality ambassador who actively spreading the impact of using virtual reality in education. MLab has certified more than 9,000 educators teachers, and then we already have 500 MLab workshop. And maybe for the last, our partner, this is our partner, MLab has held program with several partners, such as with Semolek itself. We already had a program such as 100 virtual reality ambassador schools and 1,000 virtual reality ambassador educator with teacher organization in Indonesia. And we also collaborate with Sempurna Foundation and Guru Bina to create virtual reality ambassador in 27 provinces in Indonesia. And then another partner to give more impact in education with virtual technology. And in 2021 and 2022, MLab also support technology digitalization program in education with the Indonesian Ministry of Communication and Ministry of Education to give more impact regarding using virtual reality in education. Maybe that's all from me. Thank you very much to all participation today. Hopefully we can create more impact on education with virtual reality technology. That's enough from me. Thank you very much. Stay healthy and stay happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jelita. Very interesting presentation. We have heard from you about some case studies at schools involve many of the students. And then also we heard that you have many partners in Indonesia, and it's very interesting to discuss later how you're planning to move forward not only in Indonesia maybe but for Southeast Asia. Okay, thank you. And then for our audience, don't forget, we're still waiting for your questions and comments. Please drop your questions or comments in the chat box, and then we will have a question and answer after all the speakers delivering their presentation. And then we have our third presenters. I will introduce her. We have Miss Stella Stefani, M.Ecom, lecturer at Online Learning Communication Science at Pelita Harapan University. So she is a learning specialist in developing pedagogies and learning materials to improve the quality of e-learning in Indonesia. She also teaches courses in the School of Communication Universitas Pelita Harapan and working on the project and research serious game for adult learners at the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology. developing an online course quality assurance toolkit application. She has taken part in leading game developer micro-credential program along with 10 reputable universities in Indonesia to provide first fully online program in nurturing certified game developers. She was named at 2019 Asia Global Innovator at the Turnitin Award event, which led her to the opportunity to be keynote speaker at the prestigious Times Higher Education Live Asia event in 2022 and Turnitin Integrity Week in 2021. Ms. Stella, the screen is yours.
Hello everyone, it's really good to be virtually here with you all in the international webinar held by CMOLEC. So I will start the session by firstly introducing myself. I'm Stella Stephanie, currently working at Universitas Pelita Harapan and Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology. So in both universities, I have the same playground to play at. That's what I call digital learning and teaching environment. So since 2018, before the pandemic attacked the entire world, I experienced the resistance about the existence of online learning in higher education in many academicians. So they were questioning about the quality of online learning. They were questioning about the students' engagement, as well as they were asking about the academic integrity and many more issues. So these resistances turned into my personal motivation to delve deeper into improving the quality of online learning, especially for higher education in Indonesia. So after years, I'm focusing my research in exploring how gamification can promote engagement in digital classroom for adult learners. So the findings of my research are expected to help game designers, universities, and even educational technology companies to develop more comprehensive perspective and foster the greater engagement and enjoyment among students and instructors in online learning. So in this opportunity, I would like to share my research progress about serious game, specifically as a means to foster student engagement in online learning. So, anyone familiar with these pictures? PUBG Battlegrounds or this Dota, or back then, are you familiar with Harvest Moon? Or let's get back then, Mario Bros or even Tetris. So these are facts that I will give you time to process it. When you read this, just keep in your mind that now in 2022, there are 3.24 billion gamers in the world. The average gamer is a young adult, either young millennial or an older member of Generation Z, between 18 to 34 years old. And Asia is the biggest gaming market with 1.48 billion players. Globally, the male to female gamers ratio is close to 50-50. And you can see the revenue of gaming industries reached 3.2 billion US dollar in 2022. It's nearly 10% of American gaming population plays video game for 20 or more hours per week. So if you are gamers, do you realize this fact will impact the entire world? So, do you remember this? The moment when you went to the school, universities, and you feel so bored there. Did you see your teachers, lectures, books, worksheet as interesting as a game that you played previously? Or do you feel an enjoyable engagement while studying? Well, if you say yes, you were so lucky. Why? Because I was not. So this is the idea of what we are doing. So the project aims to bring games as an innovative learning tools into a classroom setting so that students can experience the enjoyment of being engaged in a formal education while studying about the actual case happening all around them. So what you're going to watch after this is 1-minute trailer video capturing a project led by Dr. Jessica Helmi from Graduate School of Business and Law, RMIT, to teach students the design thinking based on the actual case of Mining City captures in Dr. Natalia Turkina's dissertation. So collaboratively, we designed this game along with our beloved vendor from Streets of My Town and adopting Fink's significant learning taxonomy into the game design framework. So please enjoy and take a look.
Yeah, I block every day, every day. Now we in the game like EA. Said that it ain't that easy. But we keeping it 100 like a freeway. Don't need a tick, just do it. You know that you're linking with a moment. Say what they want, see how they feel. We gon' let it slide, move on our Curtis Mayfield. On the run, and we can't get enough. You know that I'm hollering love, hollering love. And I know it get tough, so let me hear you holler. On the run, and we can't get enough. You know that I'm hollering love, hollering love. And I know it get tough, so let me hear you holler. I'm hollering love, let me hear you holler. I'm hollering love, let me hear you holler.
Thank you, Miss Stella. Very interesting presentation. I got at least 3 points here from your presentation. The first is about the challenges and issues in implementing online learning on Indonesia higher education. And then also you present about the findings of your research about gamification, promote engagement in digital classroom for adult learners, and also the last about the serious games, yeah. Okay, thank you very much. And then we have all 3 presenters present their presentation, and then now we will have a question and answer. So I will ask our host maybe to show the questions that we have or we got from the audience. So in this session, we'll have question also for the certain speakers, but please also we can also elaborate. So all speakers also are invited to like provide or give comments or feedback. Okay, please, the first question. Okay, to Mr. Octaviano Pratama. Are you ready, sir? This is from Pak Eko Jatmiko. This is from PPPK Petra Surabaya. The question is, the pandemic significantly affect vocational school students. So this is specific about the vocational school students due to the limitation of practice. Is gamification proven to help them? So, Mr. Octaviano, are you still here? Okay, if Mr. Octaviano is not here, maybe we can move to another questions. Host, we can show other question. Okay, this is question for all speakers. I hope we still have Miss Stella and Miss Jelita here, yeah, to elaborate on this question. Future education is very interesting to deal with. The strategy of all countries is different, but the students are the same. How to tackle the Edtech of the future? So this more like to put our ideas, yeah. So maybe for the first from Miss Jelita, can you answer the question? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. Maybe if we can talk about the future of education, right? I think all edtech fields in the future certainly has its own benefit. So educators can choose edtech that suit the needs and outputs that educators want to achieve. And the most important is thing to be able to deliver teaching material in a fun way and in accordance with the learning material. So not forcing technology into education, but using technology pedagogical approach that still prioritize pedagogy itself. So student can achieve learning material better, I think, for the future technology in education.
Okay, thank you, Miss Jelita, for your answers. And I invite Miss Stella also.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah. Thank you, Victor. So to the anonymous question there, I will just say that edtech should be very agile and very adaptive to the change, because the changes here is very dynamic and it's really, really quick. So to be a student-centered one will be a very good, valuable a belief that you have to follow what makes the students enjoy the learning process, since the engagement will increase really significantly when they can enjoy what they are learning about. So being agile and adaptive will be beneficial for the company to face the future. So that's from me, Victor. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Stella, and thank you, Miss Jelita. I got your point. So joyful learning and will be increase the engagement also. Yeah. So that's for that also we need to like have good devices and also maybe good supporting contents or materials also, yeah, from the teachers. Okay, thank you. And then do we have any more questions? Okay, okay. These questions for Miss Jelita Cahyaningtyas from Ibu Paulina, from Prof. Paulina, I guess. Regarding to AR VR, all students, AR VR, augmented reality and virtual reality, yeah, all students need the Oculus camera, okay, the camera that you show in that video on your presentation. And that is expensive, quite expensive for some students. How to mitigate the cost of this practice? So maybe you can elaborate also the question by maybe explain more about your case study that you already show in the video. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. For MILAB itself, we realized that not all schools in Indonesia can reach virtual reality technology. If they use Oculus or other standalone VR, because as we know, Oculus is a virtual reality standalone, and the content is created by developer. But in MILAB, we create an application where student can access contents using their smartphone with mid to low specification. So at least Lollipop-based Android already can be used, and you can download maybe in Play Store with the MILAB keyword and try the content in the Explore. In MILAB, educators can also create their content according to the syllabus and curriculum without a high spec, because we are just using laptop with medium to low specs already can be used. For i3 already can be used too. And MILAB strive to make an affordable platform for education in Indonesia. So we don't need expensive device or expensive equipment, etc. So you just use your smartphone, their smartphone in their house, and then they can access virtual reality content anywhere and anytime. Maybe that's from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jelita. So I get 2 points here. The first is the students also can access the contents using their own smartphone. Must be smartphone, yeah. And at least Android, they have Android desks, and also the teachers also can they can create and provide their contents using a low spec laptop. You said before, so according to you is it will be more easier to schools to implement or to using the AR or VR contents. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your answers. And then we have question for Miss Stella Stefani, of course. So from Ratih Fatmawati. Gamification is good learning approach that has been proven to engage student motivation. However, gamification needs innovative teachers. What do you think about this? This is very interesting, yeah. And then also, I got this point because when you show us the video, I also have the same idea. How can we engage more teachers, especially in higher education? So in higher education, lecturers, yeah, that already busy with their research and community work. I'm sure Miss Stella also experienced this to gamify their classes. Okay, please, Miss Stella.
Well, sorry.
Do we still have Miss Stella in this room? Okay.
Sorry, I'm back.
Okay. Please.
Sorry, there's a technical issue right here. So it's really a very challenging issue that we have to accommodate as well. So I have experience to introduce the online learning. Firstly, before the pandemic happened, I said it's really obvious that a teacher, as a teacher, get used to teach. And some of us probably have been very busy and stopped learning. So that's the keyword from me. When someone stop learning, it means they will just stuck right there. So how to manage a gamification in your class? I think it's going to be very great for you to start learning about your students first. So there are so many features and open sources provided for us to learn currently, open module and so on, and even gamification like a Qubits, a Kahoot, and so many resources provided currently. If we want to make time to first learn, second, understand what's the demand, what's our students like or dislike, I think it's going to be a good investment for us to bring the higher education into better quality. So as simple as start learning and move on, make time to learn and, get to know your students closer.
Okay, I get your point about gamification needs innovative teachers or lecturers, and you say that the first is the lecturers or teachers have to start it to learning again, yeah, especially learn about their students. I think you mean the learning style of the students also, or how they study, yeah. So, but how about the implementation in the higher education institution, for example? Because you already said that you already faced the challenges even before the pandemic. Do you have any experience? Maybe you can share a little bit more about when you started to like implement in maybe in one university or even in one classes or in one major that you have to like deal with some lecturers or students, because maybe this might be needed by the school principals, or maybe for the faculty members when they want to start to use this kind of method.
I think when you're bringing this into the classroom, it's really important for us to really understand how to integrate our learning outcomes, expected learning outcomes into these activities. So at UPH, we really thankful for the team of Center of Teaching and Learning who help the department really support our lecturers here to integrate all the materials. But I do believe not all the lecturers have the luxury like we have here. So I think by integrating the community service as well can be a good source for the learner, for the teacher as a learner to start gamifying their class. Well, as simple as you try to learn about the collaborative tools like Padlet. That's the easy thing for us to conduct the synchronous class and make a forum discussion, interact with our students by integrating the technology. There are so many open resources which is very simple to be learned, but the matter is about integrating your learning outcomes, activities, and the media that is provided.
Okay, thank you, Miss Stella. And then I think I also get one point from you about from the open. You have many open application that provide also to support the teachers and lecturers. Okay, thank you very much. And then host, do we have any questions? Okay, do we have Mr. Octaviano Pratama here in this room? Mr. Octaviano?
Yes, hello.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Octaviano. You have one question from Pak Eko Jatmiko from PPK Petra Surabaya. The pandemic significantly affects vocational school students due to the limitation of practice. Is gamification proven to help them? Maybe this you can answer based on your study or your experience. Please, sir.
Okay. I get the point. Okay, well, thank you for the question, Mr. Eko Jatmiko. Okay, maybe for our experience to use or conduct the gamification models in our digital startup Bisaya Academy, I have already told the audience that we implemented 4 types. One of them is the portfolio. Gamification model can help us to collect or to give the students motivation in order to learning by using the Edtech platform, let's say Bisaya Academy. And we have measured the impact of using gamification model that I have told you before. We can obtain a better result by using gamification comparing with no gamification model. I mean, by utilizing the gamification model, we can give the students convenience and more motivation to make them doing some exercise and doing some quizzes and so on. That we also implemented this model to several projects in the Kampus Merdeka and also Prakerja. And I think it's a success to be implemented.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Octaviano, for your answer. And then you have also said before, based on your experience working with the government, you have experience like in Kartu Prakerja. Thank you. So this maybe can be implemented also in schools or the higher education institution that they want to like get the, or you can share also your experience to them. Okay.
Yes, one more thing, maybe.
Yes, please.
Mr. Victor. I think this model can be implemented to all of the studying activities, not only for the vocational students, but also for the university students, to non-degree students, and so on. Because based on the government regulation using Permendikbud number 3 2020, that we have already implemented Merdeka Belajar, independent study, that it can be implemented not only in higher education but also in the vocational level or vocational students. And we are trying now to implement into the junior high school students. I think gamification is one of the solution for us after the pandemic COVID, in order to make the
the students more have a spirit to doing some exercise. Okay, thank you, Mr. Victor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Octaviano, and I thank you very much also to all of our wonderful speakers here. We have 3 speakers, and you already delivering a very, very good presentation from each of you. I thank you, Mr. Octaviano, Ms. Jelita Cahyaningtyas, and also Ms. Stella Stefani. And then this is the end of our session 2, and then I will give the screens back to our host, Dania. Dania, screen is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Victor, and to our inspiring speakers. It was a wonderful sharing. I am sure the participants were very enlightened through this session. Ladies and gentlemen, are you still with us? May I share with you the social media accounts of SEA Molek? As you can see on the screen, you will find out various resources about open and distance learning that is helpful for both educators and learners. Please follow us and don't forget to tag us if you wish to post on today's event on your account. May I also inform you some administrative matters regarding how to claim your e-certificate. Make sure that you already registered to the registration link and answer the question in our questionnaire link. And also make sure you already have an account in etraining.seamolek.org and have enrolled the course. Registration will be open until September 30, 2022. We will wait for your submission to the link by October 2nd, 2022 at the latest, and your e-certificate will be ready to download on October 4th, 2022, which is a week from now. Next. Okay, here is the link of the registration. You may take a screenshot of this slide. And also, next. Here is the link of the questionnaire. You may take also a screenshot of this slide. And also don't forget that we also prepare the prize for participants who have the best answer in our questionnaire form. Okay, I think we have come to the end of our session. Our high appreciation goes to all of our speakers who have presented today and enlightened all participants with good sharing of Edtech implementation in the post-COVID era to support open distance learning in Southeast Asia. As the master of ceremony, thank you very much for gracing our event today. From the deepest of my heart, allow me to apologize if there is any technical errors during this event. Thank you everyone for joining us today and hope we will see you next time.
It's time to open our eyes to a bright and promising future. We'll rise to the call of the times and create a stronger tomorrow. Let's start to make a difference, teaching everyone to learn through science, health, and technology. We will share our expertise by promoting knowledge and policies. We can build a better world. Let us take a step for a vision of hope, bringing future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and dream. Here a symbiote, building the future is our legacy. We'll achieve our goals through partnership, creating opportunities. By working hand in hand, we can accomplish all our dreams. For a better quality of life is now within our reach. Yeah. future.